Hi everyone! This week we're going to be talking about surface area of a cone. Before we can get into surface area, we have to talk about the relationship between height and slant height in a cone. Last week we used height of a cone because it's used for volume. The height of a cone is how tall it is from the very tip to the bottom if you went straight down the middle of the cone. You could also show the height of a cone as from the ground to the top in a straight line how tall it would be. The height of a cone always goes from the top to the bottom in a straight vertical line, either on the edge or through the middle of the cone. It also is always perpendicular to the base. So it's perpendicular here, or it's vertical, which is perpendicular to the ground. We use height for volume of a cone. There's something else that we haven't talked about yet called slant height. Slant height is how big the slanted part of the cone is. It's essentially if you measured along the edge of the cone, how far that would be. If you walked from the tip of the cone up to the top, how far you would be walking. Slant height is slanted and it is used for surface area. So we use the vertical height when we're talking about volume and the slanted slant height, which is on the edge of the cone, when we're talking about surface area. Height, radius, and slant height together form a right triangle. So if you look here, you've got the vertical height going from the tip to the middle. You've got the radius, which goes from the middle to the edge of the circle on the bottom. And then you've got slant height, which is the slanted side. And together, they make a right triangle, where the radius is A, the height is B, and the slant height is C. Because they make a right triangle, you can use the Pythagorean theorem with it. You can say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And since a is the radius, b is the height, and c is the slant height, that means that radius squared plus height squared equals slant height squared. We can use this to find a missing height or a missing slant height. For example, if you look at this cone here, this cone has the radius and the height given to us, and it says, find the slant height. Well, I know radius squared plus height squared equals slant height squared. So I can say 15 squared plus 36 squared equals slant height, which I'm going to call c. So equals c squared. I'm going to go ahead and square 15 and square 36. 15 squared is 225. So this is now 225 plus 36 squared is 1,296. So 1,296 equals c squared. Now I'm going to add that. 225 plus 1,296 is 1,521. So I have 1,521 equals c squared. To find just c, which is the slant height, I have to square root both sides. So I square root this side. I square root 1,521. And over here, I square root c squared. Square root and squared cross off, so that just leaves c. And on the other side, when I find the square root of 1,521, I get 39. So c is 39, which means in this, the slant height is 39. The slant height will always be bigger than the height, because the height is just straight and the slant height is slanted or diagonal. Okay, let's look at the next one. So the next one gives us another cone and it says find the height. Well, I'm going to draw in the height so that I can see my triangle. Here, this bottom was labeled 20, and the line goes all the way across. That means 20 was a diameter. To make this more clear, I'm going to draw what just the triangle part looks like. So here's my height. My slant height here is 26, and then this is not 20, because the triangle is just this part. 20 is all the way across. So 20 is my diameter, just this part is half of that, or 10. So I have a right triangle with 10 for my radius. I don't know my height. I'm going to call it B. And my slant height is 26. Radius squared plus height squared equals slant height squared. My radius is 10. So I'm going to write 10 squared plus height squared. I don't know the height, so I'm going to just make that B. So plus B squared equals slant height squared. The slant height is 26. 26 squared. 10 squared is 100, so I now have 100 plus B squared equals, and on the other side I do 26 squared, which gives me 676. Okay, to get B squared alone, I have to subtract 100 since it's on the same side as B squared. So now I have B squared equals 576. To undo squared, I do square root. So I'm going to square root both sides. I'm going to square root B squared, and I'm going to square root 576. Square root of B squared will cross off and just leave me with B. The square root of 576 is 24. So I have B equals 24, which means my height is 24. Now, please keep in mind, when you're looking for slant height, this number is going to be alone. The c squared, your variable's already alone. So once you square these, you add them and then square root. When you're looking for height, the variable's on the same side as something else because it's b. So once you square them, you have to subtract before square rooting. All right, please try tonight's homework. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. Have a good day, everyone.